Jacqui-Lee Pryce for Shadowboxruk UK. Fight week is always tremendous because the faces come out. Radio Rahim, how you doing?
They're great. The faces come out, but more importantly, the faces get battered. And tomorrow night, a couple of faces are going to get battered. I think we're going to see the wear and tear of this fight on both of those mugs come post-fight.
Oh my gosh, you're hyped for this fight. And the thing is, you've seen some fights in your time. What's different about this fight?
I'm absolutely hyped for this fight. And what's different, it's the undisputed heavyweight championship in the 4-belt era. A British fighter has an opportunity to claim it on British soil. 2 men have already been denied such privileges of beating Usyk, the king at some time. Anthony Joshua, I mean, he's MBE, he was on every billboard, every bus. Every time I come to London, I can't escape his face. He couldn't get through Usyk with 2 tries. The loudest voice you're ever going to hear from a gypsy caravan in Tyson Fury. The man won't be quiet. He won't be left alone either by Usyk, and Usyk proved his words to be true. 2 bites at the apple. Fury thinks he was denied unjustly, but I think everybody ringside would have to confess that Usyk was beaten twice, and that was 4 bites at the apple for British heavyweights of our era.
And one.
When those guys came up, not a single soul was saying, "Oh, Daniel Dubois will be the one." It was never the case. In fact, it's so much not the case that Usyk has beaten both of those guys 2 times each, and people still want to see the 2 of them fight, and they're calling that for all the bragging rights in England or the UK. You know who has all the bragging rights in the UK right now? It's the heavyweight champion,
Daniel Dubois.
And tomorrow night he has the opportunity to do something no one in the history of time has ever done. Become a British 4-belt undisputed champion and crowned on British soil. I can't imagine a greater prize for a British fighter. And Usyk, for his sake, has beaten all of your men twice, and this is the 2nd bite at Daniel Dubois.
Why did you go deny?
He will if he can, he will deny them that glory.
100%. No, I like the way you just avoided anything to do with being any Britishness. You're here working, but all of a sudden, no. Anyway, they're yours. They're yours.
I'm a Brixton boy. I'm not British. I'm Brixton. You understand? And listen, if Dubois does the business, I'm also a crazy front runner. I will be in the corner cheering like we grew up together. Whoever's got the belts, I'm on that side when the final bell rings.
So let's talk about Daniel Dubois for a second, because like you just said, a lot of people were talking about everybody else, and the quiet one in the back was putting in the work. You've obviously someone who's been around him and been around. You're obviously someone that's been around him and been around him a lot. What are you seeing? What are you seeing that's different? I'm not talking about training-wise. I'm not necessarily talking about size, because I've known Daniel since he was an amateur. He's always had all of that going on. What do you see?
Did you see him on the scale when he expanded? Did you see the wings? Did you see the solid midsection? Daniel's always been a specimen, but I've not seen him quite this big or this solid. He looked like the Incredible Hulk in there. He looked like he came to break through brick walls. And from a guy who's always been well-conditioned and always been chiseled, to say that we saw something on the scales today that we haven't seen before is what I believe I saw, was a man on a mission to beat down a fighter who's coming to be a technical scientist. And so the clash between brawn and the business of boxing, which is what I believe Usyk executes, it's a science for a reason, because 2 elements come together on every matchup for the first time. I don't care how many times they've been in there before, they're different than the last
100%.
time. And we're seeing a very, very different Dubois than what we saw against Usyk last time. And everyone's looking for Usyk to decline. He's looking, oh, is it father time? Is the age going to make a difference? Well, I don't think that is the thing that Dubois should be focused on. Dubois needs to be focused on how young and strong he is.
Yes.
Make Usyk fight his fight. Don't let Usyk fight with him. Make Usyk fight his fight. Usyk, you can't rely on him declining. You can't rely on him being a step behind or a punch short. You've got to know that if you take control of this fight and pressure him and make it your fight and make him make those adjustments, then maybe you get to him and break him down before that final bell rings on 12. Because we don't want to see a 12-round fight if we're in the Usyk camp. I mean, if we're in the Dubois camp. And Usyk, for his sake, he doesn't want to see a Daniel Dubois in his chest, in his midsection, on his chin all night. And unlike Fury, unlike Joshua, I think Daniel Dubois uniquely has the ability to be in that position in this coming fight. I heard that he is not taken into account. There's a lot being made about his resurgence, and some people are saying, on the flip side, Usyk's side are saying, listen, he can't have changed in those 3 fights. On his side, they're saying, listen, he's not even. They don't even let it. He doesn't let it even enter his head that he's taken a loss. He doesn't. So almost, he's so positive. He's so positive about his ability and what he has in the tank, what he's been doing over the last 24 months. Now listen, you're 23, so you won't relate to this. But those of us who are over 27 remember what it was like being in our 20s and evolving. You talk to a 27-year-old, he's a different guy than he was when he was 26, which is a different guy than he was when he was 25. Every fight you see Daniel Dubois in, he is evolving, he is growing, he is becoming the fighter that he can be, and we don't know where the peak is. Maybe the peak is tomorrow night, and maybe the fight after that, he yet peaks again. I do believe that we have seen the peak from Usyk. I do believe that Father Time, if anything, factors in that way. However, it's so high. The bar is so high from Usyk that yes, if he's his peak self, it's a very, very tall order for Daniel Dubois to meet. But we don't know what the ceiling is for Dubois, and we don't know how much better he's gotten from the very last fight. Don't forget, he was an underdog in each fight. So people are not considering that this man can be better every time out, and that's what he has to be. None of the Dubois that you've seen in the past will be good enough to beat Usyk. But the thing is, that a 27-year-old, with as focused as he is, with the trainer that he has, and the position that he's in, on his home soil, he can be a guy we've never seen before. What is lovely about that, because a lot of people are too scared to kind of say some of the things that you're saying. You have to take into account, all of those factors that you just said. Looking at the Usyk side though, people talk about people can age in the ring, okay? And you kind of don't know it. You kind of don't know until, they talk about that Usyk could age in the ring. I think some people are just, it's kind of wishful thinking a little bit, but we won't know. We won't know until we're live. They're looking for ways to explain how Usyk might lose the fight. Yes. And so you're reaching. If you had seen him decline in his last fight, then maybe there's grounds to have that discussion. But without that, it's just looking for a talking point. Listen, we're all guilty of it. We've got to fill all kinds of time, and we've got to have all kinds of interviews with the different people and present different aspects of how it could go. And that's just one thing you come up with. But there's no evidence of it. So we can get distracted by these crazy ways of thinking about the fight. But if the fighter makes that mistake, he's done. Like, Dubois cannot enter that ring for a second thinking, oh, this man's gotten old, or he's gotten slow, or he's a step 100%. Behind. He absolutely can't, because there's no evidence of that. And Don Charles won't allow it. That's not what they're thinking. They're thinking of making the best version of their man in the ring on the night, and then making Usyk deal with it. That's the only thing on Dubois' mind, is what he's meant to do. And then Usyk has to make sure that whatever Daniel does is not good enough to beat the unified, generational great, potentially undisputed for a second time in the two-belt era, for a third time overall. That's quite the standard to have Dubois meet. But if it's Dubois' fight, it'll have very little to do with Usyk, and it'll be all about what Dubois does in the ring on Saturday night. What I love is the enthusiasm. You are a true lover of boxing, aren't you? I am boxing. Okay. I just wanted to ask you, when you came into this game, did you not start doing what effectively we're doing, like behind the scenes, and then you kind of... I created what you're doing. When I came into this game, I started doing sparring sessions at Wildcard with Freddie Roach, as James Toney was in the sunset of his career and Manny Pacquiao was just coming on. I created a show called Gym Wars. Myself and Doug Fisher, who's now the Ring Magazine editor-in-chief, commentated as if you were watching it on television. And then I started interviewing fighters pre- and post-sparring sessions, and then I started covering fights, doing interviews, and that became a thing because I did it. So this style of covering boxing, I started it. Do I have to get on my knees and start? No. what you're doing right now is the best homage that can be paid, which is a good job. You're a journalist. You're getting at these fighters. You're asking the proper questions. You're presenting to your audience a perspective, and that's what you're meant to do. So everybody I see doing it is not, to me, competition. It's an homage, 100%. And it is letting 100%. Me know that the tradition will carry forward. So yeah, I'm a pioneer in this, but also it makes me feel so good to see everyone doing it their own way, their own style, bringing so much more to it. It's lovely, man. This is not just what we do, it's who we are. This is a lifestyle. It's not just a sport.
So you've been around longer than IFL TV?
Of course. I mean, by probably twice as long.
Oh,
at least. There's no IFL TV without Radio Rahim, and whether they would understand or admit that or not, it really makes no difference. The proof is that I'm the first to do this. I created this industry of interviewing fighters on camera at these events for the internet, and when I was doing it, major networks like ESPN in America and such, and it was Fox Sports at the time, they would only cover the big fights on fight night. They weren't covering the build-up. They weren't going to the gyms and getting interviews. They weren't shooting
all the beginners,
sessions.
all the novices.
They weren't running with Manny Pacquiao. They weren't at the gym with James Toney as he was preparing. They weren't doing interviews like that. It wasn't a thing. I created it, and now it exists. And yes, Coogan has created his own space on this side of the pond. He's an icon, a legend. He's got followers and fans that have been with him from the beginning. He ran with Eddie Hearn for so many years, still to this day. I mean, he's doing his own thing. I'm not taking credit for what he's done on his own.
Yes.
All I'm saying is what he does as a profession is something I created for everyone.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work, isn't it? It's a lot of work.
Anything that's worth it has got to be a lot of work. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
True. Just lastly, what was the breakthrough moment? Was it the Deontay Wilder moment? No.
No. I would say the breakthrough moment was sitting on a air conditioning system in the Vagabond Hotel next door to Wildcard Boxing Gym with Manny Pacquiao and 8 Filipinos who was living in a one-room hotel, aptly named the Vagabond Hotel, and doing the first interview with him as he was trained by Freddie Roach, and that being the beginning of a first ballot Hall of Famer who will be fighting on the same night as this undisputed clash come Saturday. I'd say that's a breakthrough moment. I'd say a breakthrough moment is putting Gym Wars online and Doug Fisher and myself coming up with a way to make that a show that blew up and gave people the first look into the ring in the gym and see what these fighters do before they get to the television. I'd say a breakthrough moment is when you started doing this. I'd say a breakthrough moment is when Coogan started doing this. I'd say a breakthrough moment is when every single other pundit and every single other online boxing reporter picked up a camera and a microphone and started following them in my footsteps. Those are all breakthrough moments.
Well, I've been watching you for years. I love your content. I love the fact that you're relaxed and honest and open. What is it they say in Seconds Out? No BS or kissing backside here. What's the saying? What's the saying? There's a saying.
You gotta tell me.
It's something like we don't basically.
No BS.
Yeah, that's it. No BS here. But listen, I'm grateful for you giving me your time. I've really enjoyed it.
It's a pleasure to talk to you. Shadowboxer. Follow this lady. Look at the content. Follow her interviews. You're doing a damn good job.
Bless you.
And I appreciate you giving me some time to talk to you about these boxing events. And hopefully we'll do this again in the future soon.
Listen, thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.